Hello, everyone. This is Kevin Howell, the One Eye Scout here, and we got the great opportunity to visit with Coach Ajami from Parish Episcopal High School. In my viewpoints, one of the most successful in the last 2 to 3 years that I've really looked outside of San Antonio. Uh, Fresh off a 3-0 TABC run, but that's what Episcopal's used to. That's 3 years in a row. So, Coach John, why don't you talk a little bit about yourself, and then we'll keep moving.
All right. Well, first off, Kevin, thanks for having me. Excited to do this, and as I mentioned to you when you called me, any chance we get to highlight our program and our players, I think it's great, and I appreciate what you're doing and your platform and how you're trying to bring attention to these kids because that's ultimately what it's all about. I started coaching really young. Started coaching when I was 20. Got really blessed and kind of got into a situation at a small private school that gave me a shot as a head varsity coach really young and it kind of just blew from there. It kind of went in a certain direction. God sort of carried it and I just followed. Spent 8 years at Fort Worth All Saints as a head boys basketball coach and worked also as AD for part of that time, and then got my first opportunity to go into the NBA, and I got a job with the Clippers. Was there for a year, and then from there had an opportunity to go over to Orlando and join Stan Van Gundy's staff, and had probably the most formative years in terms of my basketball, knowledge and learning in my time in Orlando. And we had unbelievable success. Finals in 2009, coached the All-Star game in 2010. Actually here in Dallas, which was pretty cool, being that it's home. And then spent a couple years with the Mavericks organization, working with the legends. Eddie Nahara had become their head coach fresh off of playing, and they needed somebody to kind of help him, somebody who'd been in coaching. And I had that opportunity and worked with him really closely. And Rick Carlisle was the head coach of the Mavs, so getting a chance to learn again from another great NBA head coach and spend time, just kind of picking his brain. And life happens, man. And I moved to Ohio for some family reasons and worked there for a couple of years at a D2 Ohio Dominican as an assistant, and gave me a different look, a different viewpoint, and different types of kids to work with. And but then God has a way of working full circle and brought me back to Dallas and to another Episcopal private school. And when they hired me here at first, I was just an assistant athletic director. They had a basketball coach. And after my first year here, he decided to step down. And, they offered me the opportunity. And before I even checked my wife, I took it. And it was a learning curve, but it's been a pretty awesome ride so far. And we're proud of what we built. And, our goal now is to just, keep this train rolling.
Yeah, I've watched y'all going on 2 years now, and your teams are always full of grit and determination, and it's fun. It's a fun game to watch. But let's get right into it. You lost the state championship last season. Got down early, came back, buzzer beater. But instead of folding, the group of seniors that were juniors that are coming up to their senior leadership role, how have they responded?
Yeah, well, based on the weekend, as you alluded to earlier, pretty good. But no, we end every season with end of season meetings, individual meetings with players, and every single guy that was on that team last year that was part of that amazing season that we had, but that ended in a heartbreaking way. Every single one sat in this, right in front of me and in my office and looked at me in the eye and said they're going to do everything they can to not only get us back, but to get that title back. And we don't have a PE class here at Parish, so we don't have basketball every day, and so we do things after school or whatnot, and it's really hard because the guys are pulled in so many different directions. So we didn't really even start preparing for TABC until summer. But that very first day, had 22 guys in the gym, guys that are returning varsity guys or guys who were on varsity last year. and then new guys that wanted to be a part and wanted to try to vie for a spot on varsity. So that commitment level, that sort of that focus to be better and to do something and get us back to where we wanted to get to, I've already seen it in them. And then of course everything that's happened over the last 3 weeks in our preparation for TABC, and then obviously TABC. I think that these guys are committed. They're excited, but they got a chip on their shoulder, rightfully so, and they want to go. They want to go get that championship back, and so that's the goal.
It's been I've had the opportunity to talk to several of your players, and it always interests me that each time I've spoken to them individually, all three have referenced the seniors that just graduated as kind of setting the tone and something that they could follow up. But we alluded to TABC early in the conversation. You just played the number 12 team according to Max Preps, way too early, top 25, and handled them convincingly. But what does it say for this senior group that haven't gone undefeated over their 3 years? How do you keep your guys, humble and hungry?
Yeah. Well, truthfully, I didn't even realize we had gone undefeated for the last 3 years. If I'm being really honest, I mean, I know we did last year, and obviously this year, I didn't remember 3 years ago until somebody mentioned it to me this past weekend. So, but obviously, it means a lot to do well at TABC. I mean, but as we found out last year, right, like doesn't necessarily bring us a state championship. So. We just look at it as another opportunity to get better, to showcase our program, to showcase our players. And so our approach is the same. We go out, we're going to compete no matter who we play, no matter where it is, no matter, the event, whether it's a summer league game, whether it's a TABC, whether it's a fall preseason tournament, or whether it's in season. We're going to approach it the same. And that is getting better every time we step out on the floor, competing hard and working towards that opportunity to compete again for another state championship. And so, it's not about being humble or being hungry. It's just about a mindset that, we're going to be consistent with everything we do every single time. And so whether we come off a state championship title or whether we lost, the state championship game, our approach is the same because whatever that was is in the past. And now our eyes are towards the future.
A lot of people talk about player-led teams. And what does that player-led portion look like at Parish?
Yeah, I mean, it's about ownership, accountability. You can talk about culture all day, but if guys don't buy in to what the team's culture is, it's just words. So it has to be more than words. It has to be in everything you do. And the only way to be effective, in my opinion, as a coach, is to kind of create a foundation, right, for the players to take and then run with it. They have to believe in it. They have to help it grow and make it actually a living and breathing thing. And so they have to make sure everyone's held accountable. So it becomes not just something we do, but what we're expected to do. We talk about it all the time. It's kind of a joke we have in our locker room. If I comment on something we did well, and the guys start clapping, I say, no, we don't clap for that because that's expected, right? And it's kind of a joke with us. But, these guys, dating back to the seniors that you referenced that graduated last year and then into this year, our senior group, like they've just truly taken the reins. And they own everything that we do. They have ownership in it. And one of the things that we do here that, I don't try to tell anybody how to run their program or anything like that. I mean, we're going to do what we think works for us, but there's a relationship level with our guys of communication and how we do things. And, I give them a lot of autonomy to do certain things in the way we play. But I also give them some voice in what we do. There'll be times where we're preparing for a team and I'll say, okay, look, we can either be physical and lock and trail, these screens and stay on our man, or we can go ahead and switch this. And I kind of give them, the information on both and let them kind of give their opinion on it. And sometimes it works in our favor and sometimes it doesn't, and we have to adjust, and that's fine. But the more that they feel like they have a say and so they're thinking about the game and the approach to the game, the better it is. And so it gives them a lot of a lot of ownership, and I think it's helped us be successful, and they trust me and I trust them, and it gives them a lot of freedom and takes off a lot of stress because they're able to go out there and play.
It's interesting because you kind of led right into uh, my next question was or is how does playing under your leadership style, your coach Ajami, how your background, how does that experience and play style for your players vary from a traditional high school and like translatable skills for the college level?
Sure. I mean, again, I don't know what other schools do, and I'm not trying to profess that we do something better than anybody else. I just stick to what I think and I believe in, and so what we focus on again is working together with the players, the relationships, right, and their trust in me and my trust in them. We have a system, a foundation of how we do things. We want to play fast offensively, defensively. We want to be tough. We want to be physical. We're going to pick you up. We're going to make sure that you feel us throughout the game. But ultimately, right, I try to also tailor a lot of what we do to our personnel, right, so that they're not robotic in what they do, but that they're playing to their strengths. And we have to highlight their strength as coaches. And that's something that I learned. And again, not saying nobody else does this, but that's something I learned in the NBA, specifically, and even in my time in college, is to be more intentional about finding ways to get your best players scoring opportunities in areas where they can be more successful. Too often some coaches have a style and they just stick to their style instead of gearing their style towards their players. And so we really are, when we talk about team, it really is a team. I mean, I'm the head coach, and there's certain things that I've got to do, and there's certain preparation that I've got to do, and those guys are the guys that go out there and play. And so I've got to get them to buy in, but I've also got to get them to feel good about what we're doing. And to do that, I've got to get them, in areas where they can be comfortable. It doesn't do us any good to put them in positions where they're playing outside of their strengths, right? And so that's kind of what I've learned in my time in the NBA. And I used to think when I was in the NBA, it was all isolation game, and to some extent it is, but it's also about moving pieces around, right, and putting guys in positions and making sure they're getting to their spots, but then also making sure that defensively you're creating sort of mismatches or advantages for your offense, and that's what we try to do here. And that's something that I feel like my experience. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I don't profess to be. I just got real lucky in life and learned from some great coaches, and I just try to instill some of that in what we do here and into our players.
You brought up the word relationships. Kind of goes with the theme that I've seen around your program in the last year of family relationships. I know assistant coaches have a big role in those relationships. And if you don't mind, could you share a little bit about your assistant coaches?
Yeah, man. I mean, I got the best. First off, I got 500 assistant coaches, so it's kind of nice. But no, I mean, I got guys. I mean, if you look at, again, don't know how anybody else does it, but just speaking to our program, at Parish, we don't have a lot of full-time position for coaches. It's just not how the school runs, and that's totally fine. Every single one of my assistant coaches are either part-time guys or volunteer guys, right? So, and if you heard their salary for their part-time, their stipend that they get for helping, right, it doesn't even equate to, it's pennies an hour, if you will, for the time that they put in. But these guys are committed because all of us have the same focus in mind. Every single one of the guys on my staff truly love the game, but also truly love working with kids and helping kids. And I'm real blessed with the staff that I got and the guys that have been with me. Kevin Colston's been with me since the very first year we took over this program. Then a couple years later, Chris Parker joined our program, and then from there, Kevin's son Julian, and then we got Rod Taylor come over, and for a while we had Terrell Harris, who was so instrumental in everything we did, and then God bless him, he got an opportunity to go to the NBA, and he left, and now we got some new guys. Trey Gibbons started with us last year. We just hired Taylor King, former McDonald's All-American. So we bring guys with different skill sets, but who have the same vision and the same goal in mind, which is to help these young men achieve whatever it is they want to achieve in their high school career. And these guys are committed. They work so hard. They give up. They sacrifice so much. And but it's built a camaraderie among our program. And so we are the same as our players. We hang out together. We spend time together. We care for one another, and I think it sort of bleeds into our guys as well. And we're real lucky. I'm really fortunate to have the coaches I have that are working with me.
You build something that's bigger than basketball, and it's a standard. And how do you protect that with that when new players come in?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we protect it, to be honest with you, because I think it's just who we become. Right? So, like I
Hmm.
said earlier, not only do our guys believe in it, they walk in it. They live it. I mean, it's from the fact that you go into the lunchroom during the school day, and our basketball team, 9 through 12, the varsity guys at least are sitting together at a table, and that's the way it's been. And there's just relationships that have just formed, and so through that, it sort of becomes contagious what we do and how we approach things. And so, if you're new to the program, whether you're a transfer or you're an underclassman, you're coming up, like it's sort of like you just bleed into it. Like it's an easy transition because it's just what you see around you. It's what you're surrounded by. And there's that great line in the movie A Few Good Men where they're asking one of the corporals, how do you know where the mess hall is? And he said, well, I follow the group that during lunchtime. And like that's this
Hmm.
group right here. Like it's hard not to follow in our culture and our standards and what we believe and how we do things when everyone around you is doing it. It's almost like it's peer pressure, if you will, and you just fall into it. And you see the value in it immediately because you see how much these guys enjoyed playing with each other, enjoyed being around each other, whether it's on the court, off the court, and you want to be a part of it. And so you understand that to be a part of it, you've got to be willing to look at things the way they all do. From our district MVP last year, Antoine, to the 12th guy on the bench, whoever that may be. Like it's all the same, and everyone reacts and plays and acts the same way. And so again, we don't have to protect it because it's just embodied in everything that we do.
That's an awesome trait that it just becomes in the fabric, if you will. You and I both know it's easy to talk family and culture when you're winning. But when adversity hits, who steps up? What does that leadership look like when it gets hard?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of guys that step up at different times. Obviously, the seniors last year, the year before that, we had a senior young man. The year we went to state championship, Harris Dar, who actually, God bless him, was at Grinnell last year, D3, and transferred to SFA this year, D1. So testament to him. But those guys sort of set this foundation, and so you see that in our leaders on the team. Obviously the Almater twins, Hudson Lucas, new kid Rob Moore, like those guys. You see them trying to step up and lead the group in tough times. But again, we talk about loving the uncomfortable. We prepare for it, we practice it. We make things intentionally hard. We want to thrive in those moments, and you know we create a scenario so that by the time we get to the end of the season, we've seen everything. We don't, and when adversity hits, which we all know it will, we're gonna run right at it because we're built. We feel like we're built for it. We talked about playing 32 minutes and not getting too high, not getting too low, and it's usually led by your seniors. They're usually the ones to uh, to calm the ship if things go, but again, it's something that's just kind of become a fabric of who we are, and you see it in all of our players. We never get rattled, either when we're down or and we don't get too excited when we're up. And again, great group of seniors help establish that, help keep that ship from rocking too much. But again, it's something that's built throughout the entire fabric of the team and the culture, and so across the board, guys are just we talk about being palms down instead of palms up. Just kind of being in the moment and playing through anything and everything that comes our way.
That's a great uh, visualization, the palms down.
Yeah.
You know, one of my favorite things to talk about, and it was the first time that I got to see Parish on the court, was at the Noble Classic last year. And that tournament brings, or classic brings, some of the best from across the country. What was that experience like for your team?
Yeah, it's a great experience. I mean, Jay Fry has done a phenomenal job creating the Noble, and it's expanding this year, which is awesome. But just another great opportunity. It's created this platform for our guys and our team to compete against top level opponents. Um, and so bring attention to our players in our program, and so these kind of events are something that are really important to us, and we're excited to be a part of. And I'm thankful for Jay for all his work and what he's done in creating the Noble, and it's definitely been a benefit to our program.
How important are events like the Noble Classic, not just for exposure, but for sharpening culture and testing leadership?
Yeah, for sure, right? Iron sharpens iron, right? Like, I mean, that's just the opportunity for us. Look, we can talk about it and we can get into the weeds about it. I'm not going to,
Mhm.
but the reality of it is scheduling has become really increasingly hard for private schools. And so it's events like this that allow us to compete against top level competition. And so we need these events because everything we do is to help prepare us for our quest for another state title. And so, having these opportunities to play against these programs, that are so rich in history and tradition and success and getting our guys out there and competing. And once again, going back to what we talked about earlier, loving the uncomfortable, finding different ways to learn in moments and grow as a team so that when we get to the end of the season, we're prepared for anything. We've seen it all. It's been really a blessing for us, and it's something that we're excited about, and we hope we can be a part of for as long as they'll allow us.
Hmm. You know, and we just have a few more questions, and I appreciate your time. Um, let's talk about your time as a college, time at the NBA level, and what's your message to younger players that are wanting to build something real?
Yeah, I mean, like for younger players.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
some underclassmen, middle school guys.
yeah, I mean, it's look, again, I'm going to say a lot of things that are going to sound very cliche, but there's a reason why, because there's truth behind them, right? You can't. Here's what you got to understand is that you can't control anything other than what you do and the work you put in. And trust the work you put in, but make sure that when you look in the mirror, you've done everything you can, right? And then everything else will take care of itself, right? Because the process and getting better and I mean, sorry, the process and whether or not you're going to make varsity and or play at the collegiate level, like you can't really control that, but you can control the. And so be committed to it, stay true to it, trust it, and stick with it, like through all of it, and then have patience with it because it's going to take time. It's going to take time, and if you do those things, eventually, I do believe that good things will happen. And sometimes it'll look like, uh, what you wanted, but sometimes it'll be something great that's different that you never really knew you wanted. But if you trust in that and you trust in your work and you put in the work, I firmly believe that positives are going to come from that, and you're going to achieve something that you never thought you could have.
You know, one final question: where do you see this team by the time February comes around? But before you answer that question, let's talk a little bit about each one of your seniors for outsiders looking in to the program now to know more about the team's senior leadership and skills.
Yeah, I mean, we got a great group of seniors, and we've been blessed that for the last 3 years we've had a great group of seniors. And there's no, I mean, it's obvious when you have success, you got to have a strong. It helps, not you got to, but it helps to have a strong senior class that can help lead and can set a foundation and an expectation for all our players. But I mean, truthfully, everything we do, starts with defensively in the grind. Starts with Antoine Ahmad. I mean, he's just been so important to our program and our team. And last year district MVP, last year defensive player of the year. Probably should have been offensive player of the year too, averaging 20 plus points a game in district.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like just a guy that goes out there and he embodies what we talk about as a culture from a standpoint of energy and effort and going hard every play, physical toughness, right? And team first guy. And so Antoine's just a special young man who gives it his all. Like just watching him play, man, it gets me so excited. The other, in our morning 9 a.m. game on Saturday, he dove for a ball out of bounds, and man, I got so excited. I ran over there to help him up, and I slipped on his sweat. He creates that, that energy and that excitement for the entire team, and it's hard not to appreciate him. And I'll tell you what, like college coaches, man, I get it. Like, you're not sure. You may have some questions about his size or wondering what skill set or where he's going to play for you. But I'm telling you, he's a winner. He impacts the game so many ways. And I think whoever ends up, getting him is getting a true gem in him. And then, followed by his brother, Ahmad, who is built from the same cloth, right? The same type of kid, phenomenal young man. And I think Armand's skill is something that's unappreciated. Can shoot the ball, distributes the ball well, is an unbelievable rebounder, averaged close to 10 rebounds, almost averaged 10 rebounds a game for us, and last year, and has truly become a much better defender. He was already a good defender, but he's really starting to come into his own. Last year, we had him guarding Snenak for Link Academy, and he did a great job. Defending him, whatever, the number one center in the country, right? And Armand battled him, man. He battled him. And, another guy who's just going to give you everything he has. And he's, Armand, I would say, is undoubtedly the leader of the team vocally. I mean, he really is. He sets the tone with what he says to the guys and the way he approaches everything. And high IQ guy and just another, great member of our team. And then, that falls into Hudson Lucas, who has had an unbelievable summer. When Hudson transferred here last year, we were so excited about him, being a part of our program. And, we kind of laugh over here at Parish because we've never really had a lot of guys with height. And here comes a guy at 6'9", but, can shoot the ball really well and so smooth around the rim. But one of the things that, again, when you talk about culture and everything, you saw the growth in him was, we play that tough physical style defense. Well, Hudson really started to, transition into that and started to learn that and believe that and started being so much more physical and so much tougher. And now you're seeing his body fill out and you're seeing him grow in so many ways. And he's had an unbelievable summer. And, the college coaches that are calling out for him, rebounding the ball, being physical defensively, being able to take you inside and out, just been fun seeing his progression and what he means to our team. We got Rob Moore, who just transferred here this year, senior point guard, shooting guard. Again, another guy that brings the same level of intensity and work and grind to our program. Team first guy, can shoot the ball really well. Is actually shooting the ball better than I thought. I didn't realize he was as good a shooter as he is. But it's really fit into what we do. He's still learning though, right? Like he's still trying to understand how we play. And I think we'll see even a better version of him once we get into the fall and he's really had time practicing with us. But, but just another great piece and somebody that I believe is destined to have opportunities in college because of the way he approaches the game. High IQ guy, team guy. And then we start to get into guys that are just great members of the team that contribute in so many other ways that don't necessarily always show up. Like we talk about a Brooks Lloyd, who's 6'5", 6'6". I mean, strong as an ox, can jump out of the gym, right? Comes in, whether he gets 10 seconds or whether he gets 3 minutes, he's going to impact the game. A guy who's, the scary part about Brooks is he hadn't even really he doesn't really grasp how strong he is sometimes. I mean, I beg him every day, just go up, man, and throw it down right over somebody's head. Like he has that ability, but you're seeing him get better and better, and he can come in and he helps, relieve Hudson some, and we don't miss a beat with him in the game in terms of his physicalness and his strength and what we try to do. You look at a guy like Cale Buskin, who has worked, and I've seen him since his freshman year, and just seen his grind to get to where he is today, to be a member of this program. A guy who a couple years ago was sitting on our second JV team, and who has put in so much work to get improved and to make the varsity team last year, and back again this year. And then you rounded out with the last couple of guys, a guy named Beckham Smith, who unfortunately y'all don't get to see very much because he's a stud football wide receiver, and he's going to have a huge year for us, I hope, on that football field. But then transition over, brings length, brings activity, brings defense, and his scoring presence when he has his opportunities. And then the last one, Daniel Kashar, who I just love this kid, hard worker who unfortunately last year, right before the season started, tore his ACL. So he didn't sit out all last year. Didn't even know if he'd come back. But watching him this summer, and he's working hard. He's been training, and he's going to be with us for his senior year. These are the kind of kids that inspire you, that you love having a part of your program, because whether he plays 1 minute or doesn't play at all, he knows that he wants to be a part of something that's so big and so special, and yet not just going to be there for the ride. He's going to come in and work and do everything he can. And so I'm excited about this group. We're very fortunate to have these seniors, and I think that they've got some big things in store for the season.
Well, Coach, I just want to tell you how proud I am, but I'm not going to clap because you put it in here for 32 minutes straight. And 32 minutes is what we expect. All kidding aside, man, thanks for bringing the heat today. I really appreciate you coming on, taking time. I appreciate TAN-TV for the platform, and I'm sure I'll see you in the gym soon.
Yeah, thank you too. And again, thank you for what you're doing to bring attention to kids all across the state of Texas. It means a lot to these kids. And I know it's not something you have to do. It's something we talked about earlier. It's a passion for you, and that says a lot about you as a person. So thank you for this time. Thank you for this opportunity, and look forward to seeing you in the gym.
Yes, sir. All right, everyone. We'll be back with another episode. Thanks for joining.